Good evening, everyone. This is JoJo Bennington, and I'm excited to welcome you all here. I'm a certified nutritional consultant, and I've had the pleasure of working with the gentleman that I get to share with you this evening. So happy to have you all here. See all of your bright, smiling faces. Wow. How special that we have Dr. Joshua Dunsky with us tonight. So, he's the clinical director of Dunsky Rehab and Spine Center, and he's been specializing in scoliosis and neuropathy and spinal degeneration for over 16 years, and also incorporating nutrition and weight loss in everything that he does. It's having a global impact because you know what he's doing? He's traveling around the globe, really talking to the top minds in the industry about nutrition and healthy aging and telomere support. Anybody ever heard of a telomere? Not a lot of us have, but also how catalase enzyme and different enzymes work in the body to help heal us. And so really a wealth of knowledge watching him present. If anybody's ever had the opportunity to do that, it's really something special. You learn so much. And outside of all of that and being in the clinic, practicing all the time, he is the father of 5 and hubby and taking care of family, and he's changing the world. And so I'm not sure when he has time to sleep, but I have the pleasure of calling him my friend, and I'm so happy to welcome you in here tonight, Mr. Joshua Dunsky. Yay!
Thank you, JoJo. Thank you. You're too kind. It's so great to be here. It really is. We love just sharing what we've learned over the past few years. And I just got to say, JoJo, you're an incredible mentor, friend. You're leading this way. And I thank you for it because people don't know what we know. And it's our job, I believe, is just to share with them this opportunity to get healthy in a way that I have not seen before. So thank you for everything that you do.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much for being on. We're going to jump right in because I know you've been working long hours in the clinic today and you've just gotten home. And so we're kind of taking your evening away, but thank you for being with us. And so you're in the clinic, you're working on spines, you're straightening people out, you're working on degeneration and things that you see that go on. Scoliosis and neuropathy and nerve pain and all of these things that happen. So why nutrition? How does nutrition fit into that thing?
Well, for me, my opinion is that the body is the most amazing, magnificent being ever created, and it's self-sufficient, and it can run, and it can heal, and it can thrive on its own, given that it has the fuel to do so. So, you could be the most talented chiropractor, the most talented physical therapist, the greatest healthcare practitioner, whatever your niche is. But if the body doesn't have the fundamental fuel, the elements of life to allow our body to function, it's not going to function properly. And what I had the pleasure of seeing over the years that I've been practicing is the patients that took our advice with the nutrition along with the programs that we put them on. The majority of them thrived. They really had their long-term success was undeniable. And the patients that didn't do that was also undeniable, because we can't keep living in a world that's so toxic, deficient, and stressful and expect us to be healthy. And so a few years ago, we made a choice, and I made this mandatory in our clinic, and it's a part of the program that people have to be on. I had a woman today who came in neuropathy. She drove down for an hour to see us, and I was alluding to the nutritional part. She was asking some questions to start off the meeting with, and I said, absolutely, it's a fundamental piece of what we do. It's an important piece, and it's essential. So you can't drive your car without an axle. Your body's not going to thrive without fuel. So.
Such great points. Thank you. So, there's a billion things out there that you could bring into the clinic. And I know that even previous to the system that you were working with, you had used other nutritional supplements. And so why IceGenex? Why are you here with this system, this company, this product? What did you see with that was different than other things?
Sure. So we've been using, I'm going on 19 years soon, in a few months. And I'll tell you, we've been using high quality nutrition for the length of the time that I've been practicing. So there are some good companies out there. There's no question. There's not a lot of them, but there are some that are trying to do things the right way. And I wasn't looking for anything different 6 years ago. Oh my gosh, has it been 6 years? Yeah, 6 years. I wasn't looking for anything different because I was happy doing what we were doing. And thank goodness, wherever you are, Dr. Jamie Antoine, I met him at a laser conference. He sent me a bottle of product B. And 8 phone calls later, because, you know, we don't know what we don't know. He was calling me to talk to me about this. We're busy. I didn't know it was anything really different. I trusted him. You know, I didn't think that he would be sending me something that wasn't good, but I already had good nutrition. And so finally I called him back and I said, okay, Jamie, tell me, what is this? And he actually couldn't, he actually said, you know what? I'm not that well versed in this, but will you talk to my friend Dave? And that's when he put Dave MacArthur on the phone, who started this whole process. And at the end of the phone call, I was excited enough and interested enough that we bought some, and we looked at the science, we looked at the research, and we knew we had to at least look into it and try it. And it was one of the best decisions of my life. There's no question about it. Why this is different? Because after we brought that on board, we started to see things that we just have never seen. And that became undeniable. So we do blood, we do urine, we look at patients' physiology in the clinic. And when you see things change on that level, well, yes, there's phenomenal science, and we have great published studies and articles and research that IceGenex has you know, they've gone out on a limb and spent boatloads, real serious money. A lot of people don't really understand how much money it costs to do these studies, and they did them. And so we have that great science, but when you see physiology changing and you see people that have a certain quality of life change for the better on a program it's actually very simple and it's easy. I will tell you, it's an easy program. We had some other nutritional systems that did a good job for what they were going after, but they weren't easy. I didn't stay on them. Most of my patients didn't stay on them. And in fact, all of my colleagues that did the same thing didn't stay on those systems because they weren't simple to use. This system, there's no question. It's very simple. And now, if you're battling a health issue, granted, there can be some, some things you got to go through up and down through the woods a little bit, but that's what your coaches are for. That's what the people who mentor you are for, so they can help you, because some people are, everybody's at a different place. So someone's really sick and toxic. Yeah, it might not be all great going through the program, but you're most likely going to see results very quickly. So it's a program that's very simple to use and it's sustainable. And that's what we look for, because I could have a great program, but if no one's going to do it because it's not easy, what good is it? So I really, I have this conversation a lot with Lisa. It's like, we can't imagine what our life would be like without this, literally, for our family and for the clinic. It's something every practitioner at least has to look at. They don't have to bring it on board. But I really, when I talk to practitioners, I'm like, I say, listen, I get it. This may not be for you, but are you open to at least looking at something that I didn't know even existed? We didn't learn this stuff in school. It's new science, and I'd love to share it with you. So that's really what I lead with. And if they don't want, great. There's a million other people that do. But Jojo, it's undeniably changed our entire life in the practice, no question.
Mm. Hang on a second. Mute yourself out, please. Hang on just a second.
Am I frozen?
Nope, there you go. I got you back. Okay. Hey, if Lisa's there, just have her peek her face in and say hi. She's sitting right there. Hey, Lise, there's Mrs. Dunsky. So she's, this is a family organization. So it's not just in the clinic, but Lisa's in there also working side by side, sharing this knowledge. So, since you're there together, I just want to ask you, Josh, how do you incorporate not only this personally, so how do you incorporate this in your life? Because I know that you don't just push this on people, right? You're out there putting this in your body also. So that's important, right?
If I showed you our kitchen, you wouldn't believe it. It's probably a lot like your kitchen, times a lot more people. Yeah, we live. It's, I think one of the greatest tools we have in the clinic is because we live the lifestyle. We don't recommend things that we don't do. We don't recommend the lifestyle that we don't do. And it's much easier to talk to people about it when you're living that lifestyle. You're using that nutrition. All of our kids are on the nutrition. Our parents are, it's just a part of our life. I couldn't imagine going through life without this. We travel a lot and we have a whole separate huge suitcase with our supplements. And many of you do too, right? Right, Chad? Right. See, right? We do. And so, we were just overseas and we were eating the food over there and it was great, but we weren't stressing about it because we were getting our nutrition from IceGenex. So it's just, I won't monopolize this whole thing, but yeah, it's so, I feel fortunate. My health is different. I have more energy at 47 years old than I did at, almost 47 at 25 years old. And, it's a part of us. It's a part of us. Lisa has no makeup on, so she doesn't want to be on.
That's okay. She doesn't have to be. I just wanted her to say hi. She's all good. So it's important to me if I'm going to go see a doctor, that my doctor is healthy, that my doctor follows what he tells me to do. So I appreciate so much that not only do you believe in the product, but you actually utilize that for yourself personally. So, there's some doctors here. I'll send them a bouquet of balloons when they tell somebody to lose weight rather than throw them on a prescription to solve some problems, right? So I appreciate that. But so how do you clinically, so I come in as a patient, clinically, could you walk us through a little bit about, how you use that inside the practice?
Sure. So the main programs that we have in the clinic, is our neuropathy program, which is probably the majority of the people that I see. It's really what I specialize in. Our spinal degenerative program as well. We treat a lot of scoliosis, and then we have our gut program, which encompasses weight loss. So it's not one answer fits all because we have different groups of people. So if someone comes into our gut program, if someone comes in for weight loss, there's no question they're all starting on the value pack. They're getting everything in that program. But it's not just for a month. I mean, I'm seeing people that are really sick to have a lot of weight to lose to maybe have 10 pounds to lose. The ones that are, have some changing to go. And we talk about rebooting the computer, rebooting the system. I talk about a 3-month journey. Because 30 days, you're going to see a huge change. But for someone who's got SIBO or basically that's small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which is a lot of people, they have bad bacteria through their whole system, whether it's candida, whether it's IBS. And by the way, this program does not treat, cure, prevent any illness or disease. This is food. This is food. We're not treating an illness. This is the fuel that the cells that our body needs to get healthy. So I had a woman today, same woman who I talked about before. She said, "Can you fix this? Can you treat and make my neuropathy go away?" I said, "No." I said, "No one can. What I can do is assist the body's physiology by restoring, with the nutrition part, restoring the fuel for your body to heal itself." So that's really what it does. So the people in our gut program, our weight loss, they're going on the value packs, and it's for a few months. Not that they stay on the value pack, but we can curtail the rest of the months according to what they need. In our neuropathy program, in our spinal degenerative program, I've made packs for them. So I've selected certain programs for them that encompass the NOX. Of course, the essentials, the ionics, the cleanse, the shakes, no question on that. We're adding NOX, and there's some other things that we make our neuropathy program with. but they're getting the majority of the program because this system is a system. John Anderson designed this not to cherry pick, but because most of the products work synergistically. So the cleanse works with the ionics, works with the shakes, works with the whole system. So yes, you can just get on a shake. And if that's all you can start someone on, absolutely do it. I mean, you're putting the most nutrient dense superfood in someone's body. However, you really want to try to get them on some system, even if it's the basic 30-day, because it's working synergistically. So how do I incorporate JoJo? So basically they come in for either a consult or a workup. And then when I do my report of findings called the ROF, that's when I go over, I paint the picture as to what their problem is, what health looks like, and how I can intervene and this program can intervene. And how I intervene is with a treatment plan that incorporates IceGenex into the laser technology, ARP wave technology, the decompression technology, this whatever we're doing. Nutrition is a mandatory component, and I don't see people that don't do it. It's just, I'm not going to give someone 80% of what I know that works. So regardless of how effective the treatment is, from what we've seen in history in our clinic, the people that have sustainable long-term outcomes, they have to be putting the fuel in. There's no way to get around that. It just has to happen. So.
Wow, that's, such a great point. And I know that John Anderson said to us a couple of years ago, if I could give you one magic bullet, everybody wants the one magic bullet. If there was one, I would give it to you. There isn't one. There's a system that was put together, and the system is what is the magic bullet. So there's not just one thing, right? So when you said cherry pick, such a great point. And so when you talk value pack, we're looking at replacing meals and replacing supplements and detoxifying the system and putting in water-soluble minerals and really working with those enzymes that are so healing and really supporting those in the best way possible. So all we're doing is giving the body the fuel that it needs to be able to function the way that it's supposed to, right? So can you heal somebody that's, living on cheeseburgers and French fries? It's a lot harder to do it that way, right?
Right.
Exactly. So, and then now when you talk about a gut program, we've been spending a lot of time recently talking about, good bacteria versus bad bacteria, and we all have both. But when we're overrun by bad bacteria, can the body heal itself? Are you able to do your job if the body's overrun with bad bacteria?
That's a point where you need intervention. Intervention is the fuel for your body to get rid of it. And so the question is, if you do the right things, yeah, we see it every day. And so you've got to restore the natural flora. You've got to cut down on, everybody talks about sugar's bad. Sugar is not bad. There's good sugar, there's bad sugar, and there's too much sugar. If someone's got candida and they got that overgrowth, they got yeast, then absolutely we've got to cut down even more of that sugar because that bacteria, that yeast, it thrives on that. However, there are a lot of mistakes being made with that also. Now that you brought that up, some people cut it out completely. And when that type of fungus starts to burn off, it actually releases toxins that can make you really sick. So you don't want to cut it completely. You slowly bring it down to a lower level, but you don't stop completely. The brain needs sugar, but it's doing it the right way. And so that's why talking to someone who knows about it, knows how to put you on a program is very important. But no, if the body's overrun in any ailment, I mean, the body can heal itself. So here's an analogy. If you cut your finger and you leave it alone, you don't put any Neosporin, bacitracin, any ointment on it, no antibiotics, it's going to heal if you're healthy. But if you cut your finger and you take sandpaper every day and you rub it in that wound, not only is that never going to heal, it's going to get infected worse and you're going to get sick. And possibly if that keeps happening, you can get septic and you can die. Well, guess what happens to our gut? We have all this sandpaper creating massive amounts of inflammation and damage that we never get rid of. This program, along with sometimes people need some other assistance, but this program is the basic fundamental program to decrease inflammation, to alkaline the body. It's low glycemic, but it's feeding back that good bacteria through the probiotics and the prebiotics, by the way. A lot of people don't talk about the prebiotics, which is the fuel for your body to make its own probiotics. It's like the seeds that make the grass grow. So prebiotics, they've been a game changer for us when we put people on those also, and they're in the system. So we're helping the gut rebuild itself. And when you do that, it starts to get rid of the junk. So there are diet modifications also, depending on what the person has going on. If they're, neuropathy patients, we're getting them off the wheat and off the inflammatory grains because, some people look at health food as for instance, wheat, and it's inflammatory. So there's things that we adjust also with the program, depending on what's going on.
Isn't it true that the prebiotic fiber in the shake actually reduces the net carbs? So when you're looking at, like, sometimes we just read a label and we go, ooh, carbs, right? And we get scared and we see sugars. But when we look at the prebiotic fiber and how much is there, how much that reduces the net carbs is really incredible, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And so thank you for bringing up the sugar, because it's always a huge topic about good sugar. Oh, and we just look at sugars and we feel nervous. And
Right.
As we start to cut out sugar, then you go, why can't I think? My brain's all foggy. Well, because we're not feeding our brains, right?
Right. And people, I'm sorry to interrupt you, people have to know the right questions to ask. So if you're coaching someone and someone says, my doctor told me to stay away from sugar, that's not the whole story. We need sugar. They mean stay away from the bad sugar, elevated amounts of sugar. Your body needs sugar. And so what you're getting from this system is the good sugar in the right amounts. I've had people read the label and say, oh, there's too much sugar. They're unaware, or they're not educated on the type of sugar and the amount of sugar. Just like when someone sees there's protein in the meal replacement shake, I can't have protein for whatever reason. If there's a problem, if they can eat food, they can have protein. They're talking about too much. So they don't understand the difference. And a lot of times the doctor doesn't understand the difference. So it's up to you to be able to ask the question, well, did your doctor say no protein at all? Did your doctor say no sugar at all? Can you not have any fruit? So you got to probe a little bit. And then they'll say, oh, no, I can have that. Well, all you're doing with this meal replacement shake is replacing a meal. It's not too much. It's the right amount.
And so since you're replacing a meal and you're replacing things that you're already spending money on in your life, then really it's not an extra expense, right? It's just a transfer of where they're already spending money. Right. So they're not coming into your office and then you're going, well, here's another $1,000 expense piled on top of what you're already doing, right? Because it's something they're already spending money on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do that exercise with, I like to get the objections out of the way. It's a little different in the clinic because I just lay out what they need to do. And these people, they're probably either referred in or they're coming in for help. But outside the clinic, believe it or not, people are going to worry more about, I'm not saying the people in the clinic don't worry about money. They certainly do. But outside the clinic, I think there's more monetary objections. And so the exercise is, well, listen, let's figure out, let's look at your budget, because we can hit every budget. If someone has a $3 a day budget because they just don't have money, fine, I'll put them on something. If you can spend $2.50 a day, you're going on product B. If you can only afford, 4 shake cans a month, I'm going to start you on 4 shake cans outside the clinic. We want to get them started and get them on a road towards health, and then show them what we can do to help generate some money so they can get on the bigger program. But you're 100% right, Jojo. This program and the Cougars have allowed us to help people that don't have the money right away. When most people see what they're spending on breakfast, my average is, when I ask somebody, they say $6 to $7 on breakfast, anywhere from $11 to $14 to $19 on lunch. And then I say, what do you spend on coffee or snacks? A lot of people are spending $24 to $35, $36 a day without dinner. And I say, look, this is incredible. This is great because I'm going to save you money and we're going to get you closer to your health goals. Is that diet you're on now getting you closer or pushing you further away from your health goals? And they always say pushing you further away. Awesome. Mrs. Jones, we're going to save you money and you're going to get on this program. You're going to start to feel better. And I'm going to be right here alongside with you. So again, if you go through the exercise and they just don't have the $9 a day, the $20, and it's 6, put them on. Whatever you can start them on, put them on.
And you mentioned product B, and so the product B is now called IceGenex, just so we can. No, we all do it. It's okay. So that's the product that actually helps support that catalase enzyme in the body that's so healing. So we believe that everyone should be taking that. because we're all aging. We all have cells. We all need cell support. So for
Absolutely.
sure.
And that's one of the, when I talk to my nutrition explanation in my ROF is about 2, maybe 3 minutes. And I always end with catalase and isogenesis. And when I do that, people's eyes open up because I explain to them, if your cells are not working properly, your body will not be healthy. I don't care who you go to and what you do. And that's why with isogenesis, with the study that showed the increase in catalase activity by 30% using botanicals and minerals and phytonutrients, it's like, oh my goodness, we have the world's best pharmacy right here from Mother Nature. And it's undeniable. I've said undeniable probably 6 times tonight. So.
It's okay. So you mentioned the clinical study. So let's talk about that for a second. So how many, there's the clinical study on the catalase enzyme that's actually peer reviewed, right? So
Arizona State Sciences, they did a live in vivo study. So when you hear studies in vitro, it means it's done in a dish, in a lab somewhere. And when you hear studies in vivo, it means in a live subject. A double-blind placebo-controlled study is the gold standard of studies. It means the subjects that were being studied, nor the scientists or researchers knew who was getting a sugar pill and who was getting isogenesis. That's why it's double-blind. It's the most reliable and authentic study that can be done. And so they put these subjects on isogenesis, and what they found was the group that was on isogenesis, their catalase activity went up 30%. So I'm going to back up a little bit. Catalase is an enzyme in all of our cells. If you Google any disease out there, Google cancer, diabetes, whatever you want, you're going to see somewhere in that article, you're going to see a reference to catalase. And you'll see a diminishment, a decline in catalase. So I'm going to draw a little picture here. So basically, if you have a cell, every cell in our body has catalase in it. Oops. Sorry, wrote on something I should have written on. Every cell in your body has catalase, it's an enzyme. And basically, as we get older, catalase declines. It gets less and less. When you have a problem, a health problem, or any disease or condition, you're going to see a diminishment in that catalase most of the time. So catalase, I'm going to draw a squiggly line around here. That squiggly line around the cell is like a force field. This is how I explain it to my patients. Catalase protects the cell from damage. So if you think of a 50-year-old skin compared to an 8-year-old skin, you see damage in the skin, not just from the sun, but age and lack of water and nutrients. And there's a lot of other things that age the skin. But basically, the 50-year-old has less catalase, less of a force field to repel that invader, whatever that invader is, whether it's sunlight, sun rays, chemical damage, smoking damage, environmental damage. So now this arrow comes in. That's something that's trying to damage the cell. If the catalase levels drops too low, think of holes in that force field. There's a hole in the force field. So now that thing comes in, boom, and damages the cell. And now the cell starts to look like this. All along the edges of the cell, there's damage, right? That's what aging is. That's what sickness is. An aged, damaged cell has injury to it. So catalase is the mechanism for that cell to heal and hold off anything else that's going to damage the cell. So is it a good thing to have low catalase? Absolutely not. Is it a good thing to have a high levels and adequate? You better betcha. So I explain catalase as fuel, just like a rocket ship needs rocket fuel. You can't send a rocket to the moon on 87 octane. You need rocket fuel. Your cells need its own rocket fuel. And that's what the catalase does. And when we have something that's so incredible, like isogenesis and bar none, I think one of the most important things, I say this a lot about a lot of the products, but I'll tell you that isogenesis, everybody's got to put it in your bowels, in your body every single day. We give it to our kids too. So there is a compliance on there. I forget the age, whatever. So take that back. Do what you want to do with that, but erase. But yes, go by the compliance on the bottle. But it's so important that we put that in our body.
What a great visual. Thank you. So I don't know if anyone else had an aha right there, but that was important for me to be able to see that. So thank you for sharing that. And okay, so let's let's talk about something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. So let's talk about money. And we've been working together for a long time, and we work with a lot of other doctors and healthcare practitioners. And would you say that in the majority of cases that we're seeing right now, that healthcare professionals are looking to be able to practice more on their own terms? And right now they're feeling overworked and overstressed, and the money has gone down, and they are not making the money that they used to make. And so all of these things are happening inside. And so we're looking to help doctors increase their bottom line. And, you know, if I'm going to come in and I'm going to pay you to adjust me, I have no problem with you making money or someone else making money off the fact that I'm getting healthy, right? So, a lot of us don't like to look at the fact that, you know, there's money and an opportunity here, but there really is something that's incredible. I know it's changed our life and our financial blueprint. And so I am not inside a clinic like you. I am not practicing like you. So how does this, as far as the bottom line picture, how is that transforming your life? And how are we helping other doctors do the same thing?
So how has it transformed my life? In a huge way, huge way. And to answer your question, or maybe it wasn't a question, that statement about most practitioners are struggling with practicing the way they want and getting paid what their value. So I do a lot of coaching. And one of the things I ask when I interview a doc or a practitioner, I ask them, do you feel like you get paid what your value is or equal to your value? And almost all of them will say no. And the ones that say yes, it's very few. They're stressed out and they're, you know, they don't have much of a life, to be honest with you. How has it affected my life? Huge. I mean, I love taking care of patients. I love what I do. I'm able to treat patients on my terms. I design my clinic and my schedule and my therapies based on what the insurance company has nothing to do with anymore, based on what my patient's needs are and what my needs are and my wants. And my want is to help people that haven't been helped in the medical model. I love medicine. I think I have some great friends that are doctors and they do great work. But most of it is dictated by the insurance companies, what kind of care, how many people they need to gym in 5 minutes, and the reimbursements. How this has helped us. We have a secondary stream of income in the clinic, which is substantial. And it's residual. So I have to go to the clinic to get paid. I have to see patients to get paid, which is great for a little bit. But what happens when I can't go to the clinic? You know, we had a very sick child when our 4th and 5th were born. They were born 3 months early, and our little girl Josie was in the NICU for 4.5 months. You know, can you take yourself out of your job for 4.5 months or a year? You've got to care for a loved one, a sick one. You're sick. What happens when life stops and you can't go to work? In this situation, we kept getting paid. And it wasn't from, you know, we were getting paid at our clinic, you know, covering doctors, I was living there, but the IceGenex part was paying us too, right? So imagine that. You don't go to your job for 6 months or a year and you're still getting paid. That's real residual passive income. And that's why this has such a big picture. And I used to not talk about this with practitioners or other people outside the clinic because I felt I was being judged. Oh, he just wants to sell nutrition to make money. And that quickly left because it had to leave because I was screwing them over. Excuse my language. I was taking away from something that could increase their quality of life by me not sharing that because I felt like I was being judged. Shame on me. Now I'm loud and proud. Sometimes I start the conversation. I go into the clinic and I go for the jugular and I talk about cash flow and I talk about what they love, what they don't love, what their obstacles are, and I lead it all back to money. Other times I go in and I show them the system that we're using. So your conversation can flux, but don't be afraid to talk about the money. Everybody, even if a doctor, because a lot of practitioners will say, oh, the money doesn't matter. I just want a good product. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, that's not the whole truth. They do care, but having choices is very important, and having a system is very important, but the money is just as important. I know doctors they have amazing practices, and they are not taking paychecks home anymore. And it's not because they're not busy. Their staff has to get paid. Their overhead's going through the roof. Their bills, I mean, Managed care, we don't even have to talk about insurance these days. We know what's happening. Money is a leading cause of stress today, besides marriage and kids. And so if we can address this and call out the elephant in the room right away, people open up. It's how you do it, though. It's just, again, sharing with them something that you know can help them. When you talk to a practitioner, you talk about disability. I know as chiropractors, horrible. I could pay into disability. It wouldn't even pay me 2 months from what I would put in, right? Most disability plans are not great. IceGenex, as far as I'm concerned, this is the greatest disability plan there is. God forbid something happens and I can't work. We've set up a pretty good thing by helping people financially, all by helping people. If you don't help people and the products don't work, there is no business. Let's say that first. If the products don't work and they're not sustainable, there is no business. You have to have quality and integrity. But because we have that, Jim has put together something that I've never seen before. And those of you that have had experience in the industry and know other people in the industry, no one has a compensation plan like this. No one, as far as I've ever seen. And Jojo, you know more about compensation plans than I do, and I think you'd say the same thing. So when we talk to practitioners about the freedom in the clinic, let's get your patients well, but how do you want to practice? What's your vision? So if we talk to them like people and not, I'm so scared, here's the science. Well, yeah, we want to show them the science, but you also want to ask them questions like a human being, because they have the same pain, the same obstacles, the same objections, the same overheads that everybody else does in life, the same mortgage, the same tuition. They're the same. What's that?
Health goals.
Yeah, health. Perfect. Lisa just said health goals. How many practitioners do we know that are not healthy? And I know, Jojo, you say this a lot, and I say this, when we've asked healthcare practitioners or athletes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy do you think you are? Right? And a lot of them will say, oh, I'm a 9 or a 10. They go on the program and they realize, and I was one of them, I was like a 6 or a 7 after I put this stuff in my body. My body started to change. Like, oh my goodness, right? Laurie Harder was asked the same thing, and I think she said she realized that she was only a 6 or a 7 when she thought she was a 9 or a 10. Don't quote me, Laurie, if you're watching this, but I think you said that. Anyways, that's very common because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how it really feels to be really healthy, right? Most of the time.
So that's just so good. But, okay, I'm gonna like roll us back just a second. So you were talking about residual income. So can you, as a doctor, adjust me today and get paid on that adjustment for years to come?
No. And I apologize. I'm Mr. Tangent. So yes, I intended on going down that road. No, it's not residual. I have to go to the clinic and treat patients to pay myself or to get paid if you're an associate. Absolutely, every time. With IceGenex, you put someone on the program, and every time they order or anytime they talk to people, and they talk to people indefinitely, no levels deep, infinitely deep, you keep getting paid over and over and over again. So the scenario is this. You write a song in the 70s or 80s, and now it's 2017. That song keeps playing. You get paid over and over and over again. It's not after 7 people sells a record, you don't get paid anymore. It's indefinitely because you built something once. So there's a difference between passive income and real passive residual income. So this is us building, you're building an empire, right? And maybe it starts with one clinic or one practitioner or one person at a time. But this is a platform for anybody, regardless of background, regardless of education, to make that residual income, Jojo. So Jojo used to own a hair salon, a tanning salon. So Jojo would only get paid when people bought packages. I get paid when people sign up for neuropathy programs, but that's it. Then they're out of the clinic and they're gone. In this scenario, I still get paid because they're continue to take the IceGenex program and continue to talk about it on their own. I don't talk to patients about the business. They organically share it because they're feeling good. Mm. So as a practitioner, there are some boundaries, I believe, and some things that you may want to stay away from in talking about the business. For me, this is my opinion, depending on your state, certain state boards really don't like business conversations. I don't do it, but my patients do it on their own. How great is that? Their cousin Lucy sees Linda, and Linda looks great. And she says, oh, this great program. What is this? Call Lisa, call Dr. Dunsky. They'll tell you about it. That's it, right? We don't talk about the business on any other level in the clinic. So I'm not giving you advice on that. I'm just saying what we don't do. Some other doctors may do that, and that's up to them. But I don't think you need to. Outside the clinic, sure, we show people how to get the products paid for. Absolutely. We want to show them right away, and they get excited about that. If someone doesn't want,
Let me ask you this. Okay. So let's say your staff, your receptionist, your CA gets involved and they're sharing the product. And so it's a great way for you to incentivize them inside the clinic, and no money's coming out of your pocket. They just become involved in the process, right?
That is so attractive for a business owner. Absolutely. Your staff's they're profiting from IceGenex, not from your pocket, and they're getting those bonuses. Plus they have an opportunity in what I call, so when we set up a clinic, I talk about profit sharing, right? We give the employees an opportunity. Dr. Jones is now giving you an opportunity to get into this profit sharing business or whatnot, however you want to phrase it. And so they're getting these upfront bonuses, these PIBs. They're also getting the residual. So yeah, it's, there are people in clinics and in businesses that make $14 an hour, but at the end of the day, they're walking home with a double PIB, $370 or $320 for 2 people enrolling that they've coached on top of their paycheck. And that, snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger as their team grows. So absolutely, it's an opportunity for employees to really change their financial footprint, change everybody's to change their financial footprint.
And the employees have to talk about the product anyway.
Yeah. And so, Lisa brought up a good point. Once in a while you get an employee that resists it because, again, it's the same thing as everybody else. Oh, my mother's sister's friend tried the program for 4 days and she used the ionic scooper with the shakes and it didn't work, and whatever they were doing, right? Always those things, and they weren't using it right and they stopped. So therefore it doesn't work. They resist the program. My philosophy is, well, great. Because Dr. Jones is your boss, you still are required to do this. You're just not going to get paid. So would you, you're required to talk about this program, get paid, or B, talk about this program and not get paid. So you have a choice. It's silly not to. And there are plenty of employees that have left. We have doctors that no longer work for us and employees, and they're still a part of the program and they're doing great. Kyle in the Crash, I think, was a massage therapist, if I'm not wrong. He was working for several chiropractors, and at one point he had several chiropractors working for him because of IceGenex, right? That's the power of this. It doesn't matter if you work in a hardware store, in a pet grooming place, if you're a CA, if you're a PT, if you have a tanning salon, a law firm, right? Anybody who jumps on board onto your team has an opportunity to change their financial footprint in 3 to 5 years. Some could take 7, some could take 10, doesn't matter, right? Some have done it in 2 years, in 1 year.
How often do you go to work for somebody and they go, hey, come partner with me, right? Never.
Right.
What an
It's so
opportunity.
special on so many levels, JoJo.
So let me ask you this. How much do you stock a huge amount of inventory in the clinic? Like if shelves and shelves and shelves full of stuff?
That's what I eat. So it's a lot, but not for
So you don't share?
No, not at all. We have a little bit extra because people run out. And so they'll say, can I borrow 5 or 6 shakes until my order shipment comes in? We stock almost nothing. We have boxes so people can see. And then I have, we go through a lot of e-shots and bars, and people, will run out, like I said, but we stock almost nothing. I tell practitioners, don't stock anything. When something sits on your shelf, you lose money every single day. It's on there. You don't need to. So when we talk to them, and I actually use it to incentivize them not to buy it from me. So I'll have an e-shot for $5, whatever it is. But I say, listen, don't buy it up there. I'm going to get it to you for $2, right? How many do you want? Here, fill this out. And that's it. That's the discussion. They fill it out. We don't talk to them about all the other parts of ordering. And no, they fill it out. Great. It'll come to you in 3 to 5 days. Here's a couple to get you going. Keep them. It's super simple if you make it simple. So I don't stock them, and I tell people you shouldn't need to if you don't want to. You could retail them if you wanted to, but.
So great. And we can teach people how to have breakfast, replace a meal, get their supplements here. They're spending the money anyway. Why not get the best thing they can get And
Right.
why give it to someone else? Why go give it to Starbucks and GNC when you can pay it back to yourself? Which is such a great aspect of it, is that we can just really essentially help them have their own health food store. They can order from themselves. You order from yourself, I order from myself. We all have our own little individual health food stores. It's really an interesting opportunity. So how do you deal with like a reorder, or what we would consider maybe an auto ship?
So we put patients on 2 months. So basically in my clinic, they're paying me a package fee. So our neuropathy program is X number of dollars. They pay us. And out of that, I've worked into my fee schedule, a certain amount of money is going to IceGenex. So basically they come in, they start on a program, we order them 2 months of product. At that point, and during the report of findings, I let them know, I say, I'm going to buy you 2 months. After the 2 months, if you'd like to stay on the program, you're going to have a preferred patient account, right? You pay the same price I pay, Mrs. Jones, first of all. And I've already told her I use the products. It's very important when you talk to a client, a patient, make sure they know you're taking the products, and also make sure they know they're going to buy them at the same price. If you'd like to stay on it, let us know, and we're going to set you up, and you can pay directly. You're going to buy it directly from the company, not from me. I don't retail it. In that time frame, we've put them on auto ship for their second order, and if they don't want to reorder, we just cancel it. That auto ship. There are no requirements because they're not required. They're a patient, and if they don't want to go on, I'm in contact with them because we're coaching them. They're being treated, so I find out how they're doing. Most people stay on the program. Even if I have one guy that he just wanted to do shakes and ionics. He does shakes and ionics. I'm happy. If he did one thing, I'd be very happy. Most of them stay on it because they feel different. And it's about the education. I feel like the people that stop, the majority, not all, the majority of the people that stop aren't really educated on the why. Why do I need to do this? Why is this different from a CVS brand product on the shelf? That's a question. Well, why can't I get this CVS? Because it needs explanation. Let me show you why this is so special. So, we just put them on it. We make it super simple. And I always let them out too. I say, Mrs. Jones, after 2 months, if you don't want it, there's no contract. You don't order it again. They love that because they're not being pressured to do something. I have some colleagues and some friends that I know that use other programs, and they really hammer this down, and they go after people to make them stay. Some people just resist it because someone's making them do something. Just treat them like you want to be treated and say, listen, if you don't want it, that's okay. It's fine. I have a feeling though, you're going to feel different. You're going to want to stay on the program, and I'm here to coach you. So.
And we know we do because we've experienced it. So, absolutely. We've gone a little bit over time because we only wanted to keep you 45 minutes tonight, but we so appreciate all of your knowledge and all of your work and effort to help us understand how this can be different inside of a clinical setting. And thank you, Lisa, for letting us steal your hubby for the evening. And I just want to give you the last word, Josh, and give us one final nugget of wisdom this evening.
Freedom is one of them for you and for the practitioner. And since this is Practitioner Call, I'm going to keep talking about that. Practitioners don't know what they don't know. None of us knew what we know now at one point. And so I think really asking the questions about lifestyle and what they want in their practice. If they go after the nutrition, then focus on nutrition. If they go after the stress, focus on the freedom and the opportunity and the vision of what life would look like if they got to design their own practice and their own business. That's really what it's about. Keeping it real and talking to them like they're you, talking to them like they're an everyday person really has been a game changer. What's that?
They're people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're people first.
They're people first. And Jojo, thank you for putting this together. This is just incredible. The feedback that we get when you do these things and we share this from a clinical standpoint, because people don't really know how to talk to a lot of practitioners. They're scared, and I understand it. I was scared at first too, and I am one. I didn't know what to say. Oh my God, how do I explain this? You just talk from the heart. That's all you got to do.
Thank you. Well, that was a wonderful last word. Thank you all for being on. Josh, thanks so much for your time. Can't just send you guys enough love for everything that you do. And everybody blow them a big kiss. Mwah. Say thank you very much. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks so much for being on.
Everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Hey, Paula.